Are we live?
Yeah.
I think we're live. Cool. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon if you're in Europe. This is the Super Metroid 100% tournament on SpeedGaming. I will be one of your hosts, Christofalo, and I'm joined by Eden today.
Yeah. Eden 8.
So this is one of the qualifying rounds. So basically, anyone can join this, and there are, I think, 8 different races that you can join, and they're just going to pick the best time, and the top 48 times will qualify for the actual tournament.
Yeah. And today we're joined by a lot of racers in the race time room. I think we've got about 19 people. But we can only see 4 on screen. So yeah, this is gonna be like really fun to sort of keep track of, and yeah, a lot of good runners in today's qualifier.
Yeah, I
Obviously,
mean,
we all recognize, yeah,
we
we
have
all recognize
Behemoth.
Coach G and Behemoth, so really big names today. And I'm super excited to see like what times people get, like especially because we've already seen a few of these qualifiers now. So it'll be very interesting to see where like this tournament ends up. So yeah.
Yeah,
I've
definitely. I'm excited.
Yeah, we're just waiting for everyone to be ready, and then yeah, we should be good to go. Does anyone in chat have any predictions for like the qualifiers? Like what time do you think everyone will have to be in those top 48 runners, or just in general, who do you think's gonna go really far in this tournament?
I mean, I'm not sure actually, because I was looking at the results from the first qualifying race, and there was something like 37 or 38 entrants. It's a huge number.
Yeah.
So my guess is pretty much anyone with a 120 time in the
Right.
120s is, I think, is going to get in. But I don't know. I've been out of the community for a really long time, so honestly, I'm not sure what some of the best times are these days. And I think
Yeah.
people have just gotten so much better since I have been playing regularly. So I mean, world record is what, 113 now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's super optimized now. Like there's all these really insane strats and all these like really cool movement tests that we'll probably get to see. And also like people will have like varying routes. Like some people will do Crocomire late, some will do it early. You know, like this is a category where you get like 100% of the items. Like there's a lot of room for like routing decisions, and and that's what I find what's going to be most exciting about this race. Just because there's so many ways to sort of like play this game.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting to see that, because I think there's only I think there's really only 2 really common routes that people do, but there's also a lot of variations depending on whether or not the player makes an error and like misses an item somewhere. Because
Yeah.
I know one of the races yesterday, one of the runners missed one of the criteria gauntlet missiles, so he had to go back. But you can do it on the way back when you're heading to the like your last pass through criteria. So there are a lot of interesting routing decisions depending on how you play the game.
Yeah, I think that's also a very good point. Like if someone like accidentally misses an item, or like like you said like forgets an item, then it's like it will lead to some interesting choices. But also like I was looking at like the route earlier, and I found it interesting how like in Brinstar you don't pick up the charged missiles, so it's like, well, someone might accidentally pick up like an item or two on the way that they're not meant to get until later. So
Yeah, and
that'll
that's
be funny.
with that one. That's a really minor thing, but it does save a tiny bit of time later on. But I mean, they can choose to pick it up early on if they want. It's not a huge routing decision, but it is one of
Yeah.
those you know, those 1 or 2 seconds that add up over the course of a 1 minute
Yeah.
or 1 hour run. You know.
I think the big difference when you're picking up missiles early basically depends on like your drops, because obviously the more missiles you pick up earlier, then the less likely you're going to get something like a health drop or like a super drop. So like that small mistake of accidentally getting more missiles than you were meant to can like lead to some RNG by the game. So yeah, I think that's generally what it comes from. But yeah, I think looking at the race time, this we're still pretty much all just getting ready. We should be starting very shortly. Um, but yeah, I've honestly, I think not to be biased because I have some of my friends in this tournament, but I really want MN2 Nest Cartridge to do well. Um, he he's been a player who I've been watching for a bit now, and it'd be hyped to see him get through to like the next round and do more races.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. That's one of the things that I love about this tournament is seeing all these players that are new to me because, like I said, it took a very long break from the community, and now that I'm back, I get to see all these new faces, all these people who have better times than I could have even imagined. There's just so many good players now. You know, it's great to watch.
all right. So yeah, I think. Well, I actually wonder if there'll be like this underdog in this tournament where like people will be routing for like this super big or super fast runner, and then like the underdog actually beats them in a race. Like I think that might be very cool to see. Or like someone sorry, just reading chat. Or just like someone just like coming out of nowhere, or like someone relatively unheard of, just like sort of doing really well. I think that might be something that this tournament could become of. It's
I
like the
think,
multi.
yeah,
Sorry.
I think we'll see that a lot more in the actual the elimination part because
Yeah.
you can be matched against a really good runner. Like I could be playing against Behemoth and have zero chance, but there's a possibility that he makes an error on Fantoon, or even in the Mother Brain fight, if you mess up the stand-up glitch, you soft lock your cartridge. There's so many things that can happen that just might, if the player is being just a little bit careless, it could give you
Mm.
this huge edge over them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's gonna be really interesting. It's like if you're like experienced in this game, then you might have backups to like that soft lock, which and like you obviously pick up X-ray in this category, and X-ray can sort of save you from being soft locked.
Yes, but
Um,
there is also the possibility that you can, if you fire a beam at the incorrect time, it just freezes the game. Mother Brain just freezes there. You can't do anything. I think
yeah,
that
I
happened
think
to Zenny the other day.
yeah, I think that will also be interesting, like, to see who decides to go for the safety saves, like, right at the end, or, like, just, like, generally throughout. Because I'd like to think that Hundo's one of those categories that you're relatively safe in because you get a lot of E-tanks. But obviously there's still rooms, like, early on, like, obviously, if you go up to Ship early and then you, do, like, the spiky room of death, that can still be quite dangerous, so
Yeah, that's the one,
it'd be
that probably the
interesting.
most dangerous place, I'd say.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see who decides to like make their safety saves, like just in case, or like if they forget an item. Oh, we're starting, yo. So looks like we're going to be starting on screen, and also obviously everyone else in the race time room. Um, we probably won't see much difference in like the like first minute or so in series. Uh,
Yeah, series is, I mean, it's
like,
pretty standard. The only thing you can really do is just stop a little bit away from the doors to give yourself a bit of area to accelerate. But there's really not a lot of ways you can optimize series station.
yeah, and there's also that little moonfall at the start.
Yeah, but that's
That
crazy.
powerful.
That's
Yeah.
an insane optimization that I have no idea how anyone could go for that every time.
But yeah, I think this is definitely going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this. We're going to start seeing, like, once they get out of series, we'll see some, not route deviations, but some of the very subtle tech here and there in the 100% run. Like you're saying, the moonfall is one of them, and we'll see that very early on, and just
Yeah.
the very practiced and consistent movement that these runners have.
Yeah, what's interesting is that runners in the race time chat are actually posting their series times, so they're all getting about 40s, and I see one 39. Behemoth saying he got a 49 capper. So yeah, but yeah, it's gonna be fun to see like the different like ways that the people will be moving on our screen. Obviously, we've got like some very good runners on screen right now, so it'd be interesting to see like them like movement as we go down to like the morph ball and obviously later on as well.
Yeah, I just want to quickly mention their runners' PBs. Behemoth has the world record with a 1:13:35. Hodarubi, at least on speedrun.com, has, it looks like, it was something like a 1:23. Yeah,
Right.
1:23:34. Travik talks. I'm not sure what his PB is. 1:22:32, and the last runner's name. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his name properly. Glaukio Souza
Yeah,
with a
Glacio.
1:27:42.
I think Hota Ruby PB'd in yesterday's qualifier actually. He got a 122. So that's
That's
kind of
a
funny.
great time.
Obviously, if you don't really run Hundo and then you do like these like no resets in the qualifiers, and I think you're more likely to get a PB if you don't run it very often. But
Yeah, definitely.
you're running it on the side. Yeah,
And there's that.
very close mouthful time to yeah,
This first
pretty
item
even.
fanfare, the first of 100. Let's prepare for about
Yeah,
7 minutes of that sound.
pretty sure it's like closer to 10. So I hope you like the fanfare noise. I actually like it, so yeah.
I mean, if you run this category, you better like it. Otherwise, you get sick of it
Well,
real quick.
yeah. If you run this game in general, you better like the fanfare.
The runners are just leaving this area of Brinstar, coming back up to the old Mother Brain room. And in that next room there, they're going to be entering the climb. And the climb is, I mean, I've reset at the climb so many times just because of how difficult. It's not a hard room to get through. It's a hard room to do very well. And you'll see
It's
the
kind of
runners
fun though.
either. Yeah, definitely. The runners, Behemoth will probably jump platforms very precisely, and some of the other runners will wall jump off to the side. But it's so easy to just accidentally fall down, lose 5 or 10 seconds, and then just get
Yeah,
flustered here. It's a rough room.
yeah. Like Behemoth's doing the ledge grab, whilst all the other three are doing the wall jump there. Um, I kind of do the wall jump, but it's kind of hurting my hands, so
Yeah,
maybe I'll switch. But yeah, it's working fine for me as of now.
yeah. And I mean, these runners, they're making it look easy, so it's actually way harder than it looks.
Yeah. Whenever you see someone do a wall jump and like you're new and you're like, oh, I want to try doing a wall jump, and then you're like, oh, actually, it's harder than I thought.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I'm a relatively new runner, so I like, oh no,
Glokia
what to
Souza with accidentally firing a missile not into the door there, so has to go back. But
do?
he's
Yeah,
still getting a pretty okay bomb time. I'd be happy with close to 5 minutes here.
yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the speedrun that doesn't look that hard, like mockballing when you're not going through a door transition. That's kind of hard to get a grasp of.
Yeah, I mean, even this
And yeah,
BT
just
fight
trying
here,
to
it's one of the
yeah,
things that they're trying to do here is make sure that, and you saw on Travik Talks' screen there, how the bomb tree's face fell off there. You're trying to avoid that, and if you deal 700 damage with 6 missiles, 5 regular beam shots, then you can avoid that transition entirely, which saves a second or so. So these are the kind of subtle optimizations that the runners will be going for the whole run, and those add up to minutes over the course of the entire run.
Yeah, because GT in basically you stand on like a specific pixel to basically manipulate the boss into standing in a specific way. Like it's the same for Golden Treezo as well. You stand on the same spot just so he doesn't like move all over the room. So yeah, that's something that like new runners sort of get a grasp of eventually, where it's like where to stand and stuff like that.
It takes practice for sure.
It does, yeah. And
Yeah.
Behemoth's going to be the first person that we see to do this mock ball. This is the first like sequence break in the run, because in your casual playthrough, you would probably fought a little boss called Spore Spawn that we don't even see in this category. And you get the supers there, but with a mock ball you can just sort of skip that entirely and get your early supers.
Yeah, this is one of the first tricks you learn if you're speedrunning this game. Skipping Spore Spawns is just so huge.
Yeah, the mock ball is so satisfying when you get it for the first time. It's like, oh, that was so cool.
Yeah, definitely.
It took me like 30 minutes, like my first time.
It's actually not that hard with just 10, 15 minutes of practice if you've never done it before. I just want to point out Behemoth here going for the return trip mock ball. I want to see if he gets it, and he does.
Oh,
that looks.
It's the sickest mock ball. Honestly.
It's so hard to do to get that on the way back. You see Hotarubi missed it, so he has to go all the way around. It costs him maybe about 5 seconds. Again, not a big deal, but over the course of the whole run adds up for sure.
Yeah, I always liked seeing that mock ball done well because
it's so hard. Clean. Yeah,
it is hard. Yeah, I could probably never do it. So yeah, I'm not gonna pretend that it isn't.
Yeah, so the runners will be coming up on Charge Beam in this next room here. Well, Behemoth will be grabbing it first, followed by Hotarubi. Obviously, Charge Beam, a great item for obvious reasons.
Yeah, Charge Beam is it just helps in terms of like damage, because like when you're in like lower Norfair or you're on Mother Brain, like the charge like with plasma and like ice and wave, like it's just so overpowered. Like you can kill pretty much anything with like the combo.
I think one of the commentators yesterday was talking about in randomizers how sometimes you just don't get Charge Beam. To me, that's it. I don't even know how you beat the game without Charge Beam.
Yeah, like in randomizers, there's a lot more like ammo that gets given, so you usually have a lot more supers, just in case you can't find that Charge Beam, because it is usually hiding. But yeah.
Yeah, and then so Behemoth coming up here on the Spazer Beam. I think we see this in any percent if they run the new route, but in the old route, it's not something we see just because it's not worth it when you can get plasma.
Yeah.
But in 100%, obviously, you have to get it. So.
Yeah, the thing about Spazer in old route, I actually get it because I'm not good enough at doing the Shine Spark on Dragon yet. So it's sort of like you get it when you're like first starting out, but then it's something that you like eventually drop. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, everyone's opinions differs on the Spazer Beam, like whether they like it or not. I think it's alright, but
I think it's great. But I like plasma more.
Yeah. I love it in like randos when like they pick up Spazer after they pick up plasma, so then they have to menu Spazer off. It's so funny.
Yeah, so Behemoth is coming up on the first boss of the game, Kraid.
Yeah.
We're gonna see something here where Kraid has 2 phases. Most of you already know this. After a little bit of damage, he stands up and breaks the ceiling, and there's a second phase. But if you fire missiles into his mouth in a certain pattern, you can deal enough damage to him to kill him before he stands up. It's a little bit tricky. I wouldn't say it's the hardest trick in the world, but it's definitely hard to get consistently. Behemoth gets it, so you can see Kraid just standing up and then standing back down, and then going to pick up the various suit. Hopefully the other runners get the trick as well.
He got no super drops. That can be
it's not a big deal because the mini Kraid drops 4 usually.
But yeah, I like having all my supers like when Kraid dies.
Hotarubi missed it, unfortunately. So this is, if you practice this game a lot, oftentimes you just go for practicing the Kraid quick kill, and you don't actually practice the second phase of Kraid, because why would you ever see it, right? But sometimes I think that phase is legitimately very hard if you haven't practiced it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is, like, Kraids can, like, get really annoying, because, he doesn't open his mouth, like, when he stands up until, like, he wants to, like, all the times I, like, try shooting him to get his mouth to open, and he just doesn't, so it's, like, it's kind of irritating, and if you're in low health, like what, Glacio's on now, with, like, 77, then it can get quite out of hand easily.
Yeah, it can get tricky. It might not kill the player, but it can be a big time loss for sure. And it's also just really tilting when you miss the trick, you know.
Yep.
That's one of the things about, you know, these races, is that no matter how frustrated you get, you just got to keep racing and hoping for the best.
Yep. So yeah, looks like Behemoth's going to go get high jump boots now. Getting that strat where you shoot like the bug thing. It's like a crab, but I don't know what it's called. And
I think it's called a Gamer, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, and you open the door, so you don't have to shoot it again, because this game has this annoying habit of you you have to like kill all the enemies to open the door. So yeah, that's basically what he was doing there. So now he can just go through this top bit and then not kill it again. So yeah.
Yeah, and now they'll be going through their first trip through Upper Norfair. We'll see some runners here. Well, in a little bit here, a couple minutes, we'll see possibly the route divergence. It's possible that some of them will go fight Crocomire and pick up Grapple Beam, and then they don't have to do that later on. Some of them will skip it and just go straight to Wrecked Ship and come back to Upper Norfair later on and do a little bit of cleanup with the Plasma Beam, which is, it is faster, but it's harder to optimize.
Yeah, I do like the late Croc plays, just because you just do like the charge plus the plasma and the other beams, and then Croc's just like, well, I'm out of here now. So yeah, I kind of like that. But yeah, gonna make his way to Speed Booster.
Yeah, definitely something you want to pick up early on in a speed run.
Yeah, because speed helps a lot in like this route, because obviously you go up to like Wrecked Ship and then you can Shine Spark across without having to do like any CWJ nonsense, or like the bomb jumps, or even pick up the grapple beam. So that's why you can just skip Croc early and come back for it later.
Yeah.
So yeah, speed's very useful.
In 100%, there's only one item in Wrecked Ship that's gated behind Speed Booster. If that wasn't the case, I think it would be possible to do Wrecked Ship first, and I think that would be faster. But unfortunately, you have to have it to get 100%.
Yeah, that's the thing with like coming down to Norfair early, is that you need the Wrecked Ship Reserve, which is speed locked. So yeah, that kind of forces you to route the game as you like do now, with like sort of doing the old route boss order instead of like the new route. So yeah, be interesting if like there is like an actual legit way to get Wrecked Ship Reserve like kind of fast without speed.
Yeah, that would change things for sure. I think it would make it a lot harder, because fighting Fantoon first, as they do in New Route, any percent is just, it's so hard. It's so easy to die there. And even in this route, I sometimes will, it's embarrassing, but sometimes I'll die on Fantoon 100%. It's one of the last points that's actually really dangerous in this route. the players can actually die on. Hopefully we won't see that. I don't think any of these players will die. They're all really good, consistent players.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be unfortunate if we do see any deaths. Hopefully none will happen on screen. But we might get a forfeit or two in the race time room, and we'll keep that updated as
Yeah.
we see it.
And that's the other thing too, is if they miss 100%, which you don't find out until the very end, that's also, it doesn't count. So there's the two ways that you can lose the race in this category here.
Yeah, I'd say you're more likely to miss an item if you're like a new runner and you just sort of learnt the route because of this tournament. Because it can be quite easy to sort of skip over an item. But Hota Ruby and Traffic having a nice sync there on that wave beam. So those two runners are actually quite close.
Yeah, and it's going to look like Behemoth is way ahead, and maybe he is, but he's running the different route, so he is going to be. It's going to be harder to keep track just because he has to come back to or upper North or later, and the other runners, we'll see what they do. They might not have to do that, so they might just be in different areas at different times. I think my guess is Hota Ruby will go for the Crocomire kill right now. Oh, I'm wrong. He's going for the spicy new route.
Yeah, looks like Trevik is doing the crop, so even though we just saw him and Hota Ruby being close together, that won't be a case for a while now. So we've got two on the top doing Crocomire later, and I wonder what Glacio's gonna do.
My guess is Crocomire now. It's a lot harder to do the Crocomire later, I think. Just because you have to get the ice clip in Meridia, which we can talk about when it comes up. But I think it's hard for newer players to do that. It's hard for older players to do that. It's hard for me to do. I can't do it.
Yeah. So this might be a case of like top versus like bottom, in the fact that of like the routes that they're doing. So that could be funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll get to see now. He does Crocomire first.
Yeah, he's going down.
And he is. Alright. So this is quite an interesting stream, because now we get to compare like the runners between them.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess they're both a bit behind each other, but it can like all change like depending on how many like other mistakes that they may do. Hopefully there's no mistakes, but it can still happen for opportunities.
Just want to point out a quick trick that Traffic Talks did that you might not have noticed. When picking up the E-Tank in Crocomire's room, firing a charge shot while facing up and right, while standing in the acid, will actually open up the door on the left side of the room. So if he goes for it, he's going to be able to charge a spark right here and fly straight through the next room.
Yeah, there's a lot of instances with those wraparound shots that they're called. And,
I think I can only think of two.
Yeah, there's that one, there's the one at Gauntlet, and I think there are still a few more places, but I'm not too well versed on where they are, but I just know there's quite a few in like the Hundo run. And it's not something that you will usually see in like your regular like speedrun. Like this is really the only category that you might see them in. So
yeah, it doesn't save time anywhere else. I mean, in other categories, it's not like you need to go fight Crocomire, so.
Yeah.
Traffic Talk's going to pick up the grapple beam right now, and then he'll be doing a strat called, I think it's called the Indiana Jones. I'm unfamiliar with the names these days, where he uses the actual intended, uses grapple beam the intended way to get a missile pack up there. Meanwhile, Behemoth in the wrecked ship. So he'll be fighting Fantoon, and Fantoon is always a really scary and really aggravating fight, because even if you're good at the fight, you can just be at the mercy of what Fantoon decides to do, and he can just cost you so much time, up to 20 seconds, even optimally, with his slow patterns.
Yeah. Yeah, Fantoon is a tricky one because like the save room doesn't actually work until after you've killed him. So if you ever did Fantoon in your casual run, then you may have died quite a bit to him and then had to go all the way back to your last save because the power isn't on.
Yeah,
So yeah.
and we're actually probably going to see a few different strategies for Fantoon here. I hope there's a couple ways you can do it here. You can just fire missiles at him and do what's called a Doppler. So run towards him, shoot missiles, and they hit very close to each other so he doesn't phase out of existence. Or we'll see some runners do a X Factor with just the wave beam. That's the special beam shot where 4 particles will appear around Samus and hopefully hit Fantoon, but it's really hard to do. So we'll see what
Yeah.
happens. Looks like Behemoth's going for
Yeah.
the Doppler strat here.
Yeah, the thing with X Factoring on Fantoon is that his hitbox on his like eye, because that's pretty much the only part you can like shoot at first, and then it can be hard to like get the X Factor in the right spot. So yeah, we might see it, we might not, but it's always really cool to see.
Yeah. It's
And there's
one of the
always
big risks
bosses.
with X Factor is that if you miss one of the particles, it floats around for about 10 seconds afterwards. You can't fire while it's floating around.
Yeah.
So that's the worst.
Yeah, like yeah, when you do that as well, you can't shoot any other ammo as well. You just sort of have to wait for it to hit something. So yeah, that can be a pretty big time loss. So X Factoring is quite risky, like you said.
But it looks like Behemoth had a really good Fantoon fight. Hodoribi is right behind him. Traffic Talk's still, well, he's heading up to Fantoon right now, and Glaucia just behind him as well, in Upper Norfair. So he's got a ways to go. But they're coming up on Fantoon as well. They're heading that direction. So Hodoribi going for the Doppler strategy as well.
Yeah. I wonder if we will see like any of these runners on screen do the X Factor, because usually people who do like the X Factor strats are usually like old route runners, because obviously that's like the route where you get the wave beam early. And I guess if you do the Dopplers, then you'd be more well versed in like Dopplering if you run new routes, so it's just whatever you're more comfortable with and whatever you practice the most, I guess.
Yeah, Behemoth is in the spiky room of death, aptly named because those spikes that fall down deal 100 damage to you. This is like I would say the last place where you can have a real risk of dying in 100%, just because if they land on you and they knock you out and it goes to your reserves, you will still die because your hitbox will still be in the spikes, so you'll just take another frame of damage. So it's one of the most dangerous rooms, also because the water's there, and it just makes it really ugly to navigate through there.
Yeah, Behemoth doing a nice bomb jump there to get to that E-tank.
Yeah, I mean, world record holder here, making it look easy, but these strats are pretty tough.
Yeah, bomb jumping like horizontally like that is something that you sort of have to get used to if you want to like switch to new route. So yeah.
Or you can disable high jump boots actually, but that is a little bit slower.
Yeah, that's like an extra menu. So probably definitely didn't want to do that.
Yeah, and we see Behemoth and Hodoribi. Well, Hodoribi is going into Spiky Room of Death himself, but Behemoth is in the attic. This is a interesting set of strategies here because you want to conserve energy. If you don't have enough energy going into the next part of the game, you have to stop at the ship and refill your energy. Oh my goodness, Hodoribi nearly died.
Oh lord. Oh, he's got the glitch with the black screen and the yeah.
That was scary.
Oh my god. I was like, nah, he's fine, and then it's like all of a sudden, oh god.
Yeah, I mean, Hodoribi, an absolute legend of the speedrunning community, really old school, not someone that you expect to have trouble with that room, but you know, that just shows how tough these rooms are, that even experienced runners can possibly die in them.
Yeah. But he has a bit more health now, so hopefully he won't die going his way back.
Yeah,
And
picking up
looks
that E-tank on the way back for sure helps.
yeah. So it looks like Trevik's about to fight Fantoon. Like, so far we've not really had any bad Fantoon fights, so let's hope it continues.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
he's got Spazer and Wave equipped right now, so I wonder what kind of strategy he'll go for. I think that implies that he'll go for a Doppler, but it's also possible that he can try for a 4-round Fantoon. And yeah, there he is, turning off Spazer, so he's, I would say, going for an X Factor. This is going to be exciting.
Yeah, so if you don't know what the heck we were just talking about with X Factoring, you'll get to see it here on the Trevik screen. It looks really cool, the way that it like looks. Yeah, there we go.
It's also so hard to do. I can't stress this enough. It's so easy to make just a simple error and cost you 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And he gets the combination of the two strategies there. Actually, that's pretty interesting. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and looks like Hodorubi's doing that deboost strat through those. I don't know what they're called, but I'm just gonna say that the robots. Because you can sort of damage yourself on the sparks and then sort of go through the robots. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's a strat that you can see a lot of like.
He's taken a fair bit of damage here, though, is the thing. I think he might have to stop at the ship on the way back because he still has to make it through the, I don't know what's called, bowling alley. And there he's going to take damage on the spikes, so he's not going to have enough energy to do the Shine Spark in the ship room. He's going to have to refill, I think.
Right, yeah. Another place that you could also, like, do fill there before Meridia. Work robot? Ah, so I am correct in calling them a robot. I see.
You got half of it there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just shortening the name, you know?
It looks like Glacia is doing the X Factor as well. His PB is about a 127, I think I saw. This, to me, tells me that he's a pretty good 90% runner. It's a strat that he looks like he's practiced a lot. He knows what he's doing. Makes it look easy.
Yeah, I feel like that should just be the title of like this category is like all these runners make all these hard shots look easy.
Yeah, exactly.
So that may go for the same like for any speed game. Like there's always like really crazy movement stuff.
Yeah, Traffic Talk's having actually looks like a bit of trouble in the spiky room of death. This room, like we said, not very easy. Can go very poorly very quickly if you're not careful. Even if you are careful, it can go poorly.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we haven't seen anyone save. Because if you die, then you essentially have to forfeit because you can't really come back from a death like 20-30 minutes in because it's just so huge.
Yeah, you'd have to restart and you're losing 30 minutes right there. It's not. You might as well just hop onto the next qualifier. We got qualifiers next weekend as well, so if you're interested in running, you can check those out and maybe hop in yourself.
Yeah.
Behemoth going for the criteria gauntlet missiles. I want to call these. I don't remember the name, but I remember doing this casually, and you fall down one side, and then you see the missile pack on the other side. You're like, okay, I have to go all the way back. Doing that in the speedrun sucks, so they have to fall down the middle very carefully. Otherwise, they have to go back around at the very end. Glocio is doing the Spike Room of Death as well, and he gets through it just fine, no problem. Behemoth, no, sorry. Somebody mentioned a Shine Spark in the Gauntlet. I wasn't watching his screen, unfortunately. Maybe we'll see Hodorubi go for it.
Yeah, Behemoth did like the wraparound shot, I think, and then he did the Shine Spark into Gauntlet. Looked really clean. I really like that Shine Spark, but obviously.
What is Hodorubi doing? Sorry, what's going on here?
Is he not going into Gauntlet now? Is he leaving that till later, maybe?
I think maybe this is one of those routing decisions that you were talking about. I have never seen this before, so this is really interesting. It looks like you're right. He's gonna pick up the Gauntlet section after he gets his last pass through criteria.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind like leaving Gauntlet to the end. But like he is going to miss out on that energy tank, which I don't think will be too bad because he's gonna get the one at Eticoons anyway, probably. So he won't be low in health for too long. But yeah, maybe he just decided not to do it right now because he only has 139 health, and I think to do the Gauntlet Shine Spark,
It's
you
about
need like
250
over
health, I think.
yeah, you need over 200, so that was probably like a decision on his part to be like, oh, I'll just do it later just because I don't have the health right now, which I think is fair enough.
Yeah, I think that's a great decision, routing on the fly like that.
That's probably what he was thinking.
Meanwhile, Behemoth going for one of my favorite strats, hopefully called the Mission Impossible, and you'll see why if he gets this correctly. Quick falls through the blocks there, and then tries to jump back up before the block reforms. And he manages to get it.
I've never actually like seen anyone manage to pull that off, so
it looks
really
hard,
sick.
And we say in these strategies, they make them look easy. But I'm going to say that strategy is actually not that hard. There's a setup that you can do for it that sets it up perfectly every single time. Once you practice it for a little bit, you'll get it every time.
Yeah.
But it does look cool.
Yeah, I guess it's just one of those like things that you will like practice over time, obviously. But yeah, it's still really doing it and saving time is hard. Yeah, I guess trying to. I guess there's two things to optimizing. Like, there's one, making sure it's fast, and two, making sure like it's actually worth to save time. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Behemoth. Sorry, Hoda Ruby coming up on something here that Behemoth just did. Also, very kind of difficult to do is you remember that we skipped Spore Spawn earlier? Well, yep. Spore Spawn. He is the holder of the first Super Missile pack, so you have to go back and get it, but you can't go back the back way. Normally, you have to scroll the screen in a certain way to load the block, but not completely. So it takes a couple tries, and if you're not careful, you'll end up wasting a whole bunch of super missiles. So we'll see Hoda Ruby go for this just now. It can be pretty tough to get. And it looks like he got it, made it look easy, so there we go.
There's a bit of a setup there as well, like on where exactly to stand as you're like lining it up. Yeah, this game just has a lot of like things that you can look at on the ground, and you can sort of position yourself and be like, all right, yeah, I need to stand on this pixel here.
Behemoth doing a clip. I've never seen that before. I didn't know you could clip through the ground like that. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I don't actually see that very often, but I've definitely seen it quite a few times. But yeah, I think it kind of works like, you know, in New Route any percent and you're in Rush Ship and you're going up towards the attic and you like sort of shoot out the blocks there, and then you get on top of one of the blocks and you sort of crouch and jump. I think it's one of those clips. I just described that really poorly. No one knows what I'm on about, but yeah, I
knew exactly what you're talking about. Don't worry about it.
But
yeah. And another one of those routing decisions that you're just talking about, Traffic Talks. I don't know if you noticed this, but he skipped doing a Shine Spark from the ship up to the top right criteria power bombs, so that he could do a shorter charge up there. Looks like to be an effort to save a little bit of health, so that he doesn't have to menu and open up his reserve tanks in order to grab this gauntlet energy tank here, and he could just do the Shine Spark normally. Behemoth going for the I don't know what you call these missiles. These Main Street missiles. These ones for a casual player. I mean, this is not the last item you find, but it's usually the last item that you get, because like the first time I played through this game, you know, I had no idea what a shine spark was. I had no idea how to get that, and I thought, how are you gonna do like a? You can X-ray those blocks. See, you need speed booster, but without knowing how to do a shine spark, no idea how to get them.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things that if you hadn't seen someone else do it first, then it can be quite confusing. Looks like Glacio is doing a ship refuel here to get more.
That's a good idea. I think it's
Yeah,
safe.
oh, and he's also taking a save.
Not a
At
bad
least
idea.
he
You
has
know,
a save point. But yeah, that gives him a lot more health to do the Gauntlet Shining Spark as well.
Meanwhile, Hodorubi coming up on Meridia as well. Behemoth grabbing the Crab Seepers. Talks heading down for the Brinstar cleanup. It looks like he's way behind the other two runners, but he's actually might not be as far behind as it looks like because, again, there's a route change. So Behemoth and Hodorubi are going to have to deal with some Norfair cleanup later on. Glacio having a bit of trouble with the wraparound shot there. I think there's like a 1 pixel window that you can get it. It's a little bit tricky, but it looks like he gets it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you can sort of tell if because like you can like hear the door opening. So like he obviously was like able to just hear like the door open. Obviously we can't hear that because we're not on his game audio. But yeah, you can sort of tell if you get it or not.
It is tricky though to get it with just the wave beam charge shot there. Like I said, 1 pixel. Hard to set up, but you got it.
Yeah. And Behemoth's now on the watering hole, just getting these items here. These are like sort of like the Meridia items that like Varia likes hiding in like randomizers. Like you always like, don't tell me I just checked like all these other different places before going here. But yeah, these places kind of like far out the way. And as a result, you don't get to see them very often.
In 100%, that's one of those places there that it's really easy to forget about and just go straight down after that first Meridia section there and completely ignore those 3 items that you get.
Yeah.
And then when you're done, you see 97%. You're like, great, well, that sucks.
Especially with like muscle memory as well. Like you always have to fight the urge instead of going down.
Yeah, if you run a lot of anti-percent, it's a very easy mistake to make. Behemoth doing the Botswoon fight now has the worst hitbox in the game. Getting a 1 round on this fight's really hard, but again, makes it look easy. I'm sure we'll see Hodorubi do the same thing there. Meanwhile, Traffic Talk's going for the Mission Impossible, and Glacio is a little bit behind him as well.
Yeah, going into the Etacoons area here.
Behemoth going for the full halfie. There's a whole story about why it's called the full halfie, but all you need to know is this is Shine Spark that saves about 12 seconds. Very hard to do, very impressive.
Yeah, the the full halfie is very interesting. Was considered like Taz only for a while because of like the way that like you could make the shine spark, but often you couldn't like get the pixel to fly across the whole room. But yeah, it's always very cool to see.
And now he's coming up on Dragon. There's a couple of different strategies you can do for this fight. In 100%, one of the things you can do is just let Dragon grab you and then grapple and stick to one of these electrical outlets, and she will just be zapped to death. But Behemoth doesn't have that option because he doesn't have grapple because he skipped Crocmire. So he's going to go for the Shine Spark strategy, which is very hard to do consistently. But if he gets this right, he will leave this room with a either blue suit or a spike suit, which will let him store a Shine Spark for later.
Yeah, this spike suit can be quite hard to get. Like, you know, like you see a lot of runners like lose runs to it in any percent because it's like you can get a thing called a bad frame and just like end up not getting it.
Yeah,
So,
or if you're not careful, I mean, this doesn't happen 100% because usually you have enough energy to deal with this, but it's sometimes easy to Shine Spark into Dragon, and then when she dies, you just take a whole bunch of damage on every
yeah,
single
like
frame.
chain damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's really bad, obviously. Not going to happen 100% because these runners have about 8 E-tanks, so very little risk of dying at this point. I would be surprised if anyone died here.
Yeah. But you're right, Dragon can be very, very scary. I don't think I've ever seen anyone lose a run to Edge, but I imagine that it probably would have happened at some point. It's just one of those rules. If it can happen, it most definitely will happen at some point.
Yeah, definitely. So Hodorubi's going to be coming up on the Dragon fight. He also got the full halfie, so very impressive. Meanwhile, Traffic Talk's just now heading down to Meridia, and Glacio is also behind him a little bit there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Behemoth's doing like one of the most interesting like routing decisions in Hundo right now, because I always thought it was kind of weird how you like did the orders of like left sandpit, right sandpit, and like the bot boot E tank. But obviously, people who like play Hundo often, like they have a good idea of like what items you should like get in what order. So I think what he's going to do is go up to Plasma first and then come back down left sandpit, unless I'm getting them mixed up.
Yep, that's correct.
I'm
That's
getting
usually
mixed
what
up.
you do.
Yeah.
Here's the ice clip here. This is what lets him
Yeah.
skip Crockmire. You don't need the grapple beam. Normally, you would need the grapple beam to break a block in the previous room and jump around, but there, if you freeze one of the enemies in the right position and stand on him, you can clip through the floor like that. So that's what makes this route possible. Hodorubi's going to go for the same thing. It's pretty tricky to do. There's a setup for it, but like I said, it's a tough trick.
Yeah, the ice clip you get quite consistently if you like learn the like setup that he just did. Like I think the screen scroll is easy. The hard part is making sure that the enemy bot and because the way that the enemy looks like, it sort of looks like an apostrophe basically. And but if it's like laying like flat, then it won't. But yeah, this is the best item in the game. Oh, it's not the Various. Second best item.
I love Spring Ball. It's not something that you see a lot of just because, I mean, you don't need it in many categories. It's tucked away in a corner of Meridia, and there's a big, slow enemy that gates it. So, but there's a lot of little cool things that you can do with it. If you, we'll see. We'll talk about it when Behemoth does these tricks.
Yeah. But Spring Ball Ice Clip is definitely one of the cool things in a slow run.
Yeah, so like you said, Behemoth going for the Plasma Beam right now. He did the right side of the sand pits, which means that he can go back up through the middle, get Plasma Beam, go back down, and then do the left side, and then leave Meridia, and then he's done here. Hodorubi's going to do the same thing. Well, Traffic Talks and Glacio will do the same thing as well, but they got a ways to go.
Yeah. So it looks like Ruby's gonna do that ice clip that we were just talking about now. See if he gets it as easy as oh, that was like the right
He's doing something
it's
there.
not in the right position. I don't think it needs to be higher up. So
he was clipping through the floor a bit. Yeah, that's tricky. So that's one of the things about these route divergences is that it's faster to do the route that Hodorubi is doing. If you mess up these tricks, however, you're not actually saving any time. Any of the time save that you would have made from the route change is just nullified by the fact that you weren't able to get the clip first try. So that's one of the risks that you take by doing this.
Okay. He gets it third try. Had a bit of issues, but that's just because it's a hard clip. Like if you mess up the screen scroll, then you have to reset the room immediately, and obviously if you have issues with like the actual like snake, then it's like yeah, it's quite hard to get it in the position that you want. But yeah, we're seeing Shaktul for the second time,
Yep,
which
this
I'm very
room.
happy about.
Well, we'll see him 2 more times. Don't worry. Are you
Yeah,
a kind of person that kills Shaktul on the way back, or do you let him live?
no, leave Shaktul alone. All right, I may have like killed him for a Shaktul RTA room, but yeah.
I'm not a fan of Shaktul. Always kill him on the way out. He made you
Yeah.
wait about 30, 40 seconds there, so you definitely have to kill him.
Yeah, and I just noticed that in the race time room we have already had 2 forfeits, which is really unfortunate, but we still 17 other runners still going at it. So this is still very exciting.
Yeah, we don't know what happened, why they forfeited. Some people, maybe they forgot an item, maybe they died somewhere. It's a tricky category for sure, and definitely if you feel like you're a little bit behind or you make an error, it's tough to come back from those sometimes. But that's why we have more qualifier rounds coming up next weekend as well. So this isn't their last chance. If they forfeit today, they still have chances next weekend as well.
Yeah, I guess that's the good thing about these qualifiers, that if you have one bad race, then you can always try again, given if there's another qualifier. Whereas I feel like a lot of races, you can like play and then that determines like your entire preset for the tournament. But I like the fact that this is like sort of more fair in that you get like multiple attempts.
Yeah, I think it's great. Traffic Talk's coming up on Dragon as well. Be interesting to see what strategy he goes for. I always do the grapple strategy just because it's way easier.
Yeah.
So we'll see what he does.
If you have grapple, then the bill is definitely worth it. But,
Yeah, I think it's if you're not going for the blue suit, then I would just go for grapple, especially in a race like this where there's a lot of variance. If you mess up the blue suit or the shine spark kill, it's going to cost you a lot of time. If you mess up the grapple, you can't really mess it up. You know, it's pretty straightforward. You just zap her to death.
Yeah, it looks like he's doing a combination of X-ray plus the shine spot. Not X-ray, the X Factor. That's what I was meant to say.
Yeah, it's easy to do a setup for that at the first X Factor. So when you're first shine spark. So all the 4 particles should hit. But based on his setup there, he was going for blue suit. So this allows him to store shine spark for later, just because he killed Dragon with a shine spark. So he's probably gonna use that on his way out of the room. I don't know what you call the room, the happy room. But that saves again, like Coliseum. That's right.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Anyways, we'll see
Coliseum.
him do it. We'll see him do a shine spark, and it's gonna save a lot of time there. Meanwhile, Glacio is just leaving the Botswoon room. So he'll be fighting Dragon shortly. But Behemoth heading down to Lower Norfair for the first time, and only time. Shouldn't see it more than once. And then he will do some Upper Norfair cleanup after he's killed Ridley.
It's actually interesting how in this like route, you don't open that like green door to do a croc like immediately. I think that's kind of interesting. Like, you know, instead of like doing croc after Ridley, you could sort of do it like right there, but you just sort of speed past it. So I think that's kind of interesting, and like this route.
Yeah, I think it's faster if you have screw attack, or at least it's more consistent. There's less that can go wrong. Just want to point out also, Traffic Talk's missing the E-Tank on his way down into the sand pits. That's not a big deal, because that's the first or the second of 3 chances that he has to pick it up. So we're going to see that again. It's not a big deal if you miss these items on the way down first time or second time.
Yeah, he can get the E-Tank when he goes into the left sand pit.
So no big deal there.
Yeah.
Behemoth in the, I don't know what this room is called. I call it the lavatory because I think it's hilarious.
I have no idea what it's called.
Flushing the lava down into a big drain. So.
You know, I can get behind that name. Or like just size the lava and then Tori, lava Tori.
Yep.
Haha.
Thank you for humoring me with that one. I mean, I was hoping to bring that up, but
So based on these 4 screens, Behemoth is in the lead.
yeah,
But there are other racers in this race as well.
yeah. One of the things that you'll see here as well is that with this Golden Chorizo fight, you can hit Golden Chorizo twice with the single plasma shot. If you just crouch and aim up, or if you the way you saw Behemoth do it. But Behemoth has a weird control style, and he doesn't have I think it's angle down or angle up button. I can't remember. So his control scheme doesn't let him just crouch and aim up. So he has to jump up and down like that to kill Golden Chorizo very quickly like that.
Yeah.
One of the weird quirks about the top runners of the game.
Yeah, and I find that interesting. Like, obviously, just watching these runners on screen, you wouldn't necessarily know that, or that's why he does that. So I think that's a cool piece of information. And Chavik also getting that spring ball again, the second best item in the game. First item is obviously Spazer.
Obviously.
Obviously. I mean, at least
Okay.
still alive. Pog.
Yeah, Glacio looked like he had a clean Dragon kill, excuse me, and he's heading down as well into the sand pits. Behemoth will be coming up on Ridley pretty quick here, which is not actually, I would say it's not a hard fight 100%, but it is a fight where it's pretty easy to lose time if you're not careful. Dragon's AI is, I would say it's a disaster. It's so hard to manipulate and so hard to get him to go where you want him to go so that you can hit him.
Yeah. I think Ridley is definitely the boss that you would probably like practice the most when you're first starting out, just so you can like learn the way that he like works. Whereas I feel like the other bosses, like you sort of practice more over time and you like get faster at because you pick up new strats, but I guess Ridley just always stays the same. Unless like you kill him with Spazer instead of Plasma and just small things like that.
Yeah, which is something you do in the any percent new route. So there's multiple things that you can change throughout the fight depending on the category that you're doing. But it is, like you said, pretty consistent in how you kill him. Hit him until he dies.
Yeah. Just like throw stuff at him and hope he dies.
Yeah, Hodorubi now entering the lavatory. Traffic Talk's getting his plasma beam.
You practice trade the most. Trade is hard. Like we were talking about the stand-up phase earlier. Like it can get out of hand very easily.
Yeah, so we'll see Behemoth's Ridley fight here. I think the optimal strategy is you want him to pogo like that, because it's easy to get a lot of hits off very quickly. But he makes it look easy. I don't know how he does this. Makes Ridley go where he wants him to go, and then Ridley will just pick him up and then die. So that was quite the fight.
Yeah, quite speedy.
Hodorubi's doing
the
GT. Yeah, and that's how most people do it. Is just aim up, hit twice with the plasma beam, and off you go.
Yeah. Like I think I was discussing this earlier when we did Bomb Chorizo, but yeah, there is a specific way that you wanna stand in order to do that. Otherwise, he just sort of walks forward and. Traffic just messed up that shine spot. Yeah, it did. That was a nice though.
Yeah, that one's a 3-tap. It's pretty hard to get consistently, but with this room, you have more than one chance to go for it, so it's not a big deal if you mess it up. But I think he's on his second pass through here now, so he should be leaving Meridia and exiting out the second sand pit here. So he needs, yeah, he's good to go.
Yeah. So that's the last time we'll see Shop Tool on our screens. Anyone else? No. Okay. Leaving Shop Tool alive. Hotarubi doing the generic rodent missiles, which is I kind of like that joke, just saying, "Oh, it's a generic mouse." Oh, and he doesn't fall down
Yeah.
as well. Spring roll shots in low and alpha. That's so good. Yeah, yeah. That's why it's the second best item in the game, because it it's just got some cool stuff like spring ball, baby skip, stuff like that. Stuff like that.
Yeah, one of the quirks about Spring Ball is that it lets you preserve your momentum if you are moving very quickly left or right when you jump. So that's one of the reasons why it's just so useful. So Hotarubi heading down into the Ridley room. And pretty soon here, we're going to see the routes converge because Traffic Talks and Glacio have already killed Crocmire, but Behemoth and Hotarubi have to go do that right now.
Yeah. So, yeah. I guess these runners haven't really been close enough to see like that fake like time save, I guess, just by skipping Croc, but like that means that that will no longer like exist, and they should basically just have like be on a level playing field and just be separated by like movement and strats and stuff, rather than like skipping an entire area. But yeah, before that though, he is going to go into Norfolk Reserve, and there are quite, well, there's 3 items here, like those missiles that he just got, and also obviously the reserve and another pack of missiles as well.
Yeah, one of these things about like watching this, I always wonder like how did the developers expect the player to find a lot of these items? They're just hidden in ways that, I mean, you would never go there unless you were X-raying every single room.
Yeah, I guess like the devs sort of just expected you to be X-raying a lot, because I guess it is an exploration game, and they did
that's a good
also
point.
have like a Nintendo powered guide as well, gave you like hints and stuff. So yeah, I guess like they did like sort of plan this game really well, but then it's also like yeah, they sort of have to take their like initiative into being like a gamer, I guess, which is the case for a lot of games like Zelda. Like I've been doing the task casually, and I'm like, how am I meant to figure like half of this stuff out by myself? But yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of funny.
I know what you mean. Watching some of the, this is not super related, but there are randomizer tournaments for Link to the Past as well that I've seen that are just, it's crazy some of the stuff that game has to offer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Behemoth going for the Crocmire kill now. If you just fire a plasma shot into it, it dies. There's not much to it.
Yeah. It looks so cool though. It's definitely one of the coolest things to look at. Just Croc walking backwards like this. Oh, that I don't really do that often. Oh, and he gets a probably gonna get a spike suit out of this. That's interesting. That's also stuff that you can see here as well. Is it just me, or did Croc take a long time to sort of like come out of there? I was like, this feels like forever since he died.
That's one of those things, because if you're not, if you didn't scroll the screen all the way to the left, he won't die again. He'll just stay there forever. So you got to be a little bit careful with that. I didn't see. I looked away for a second. I didn't see if Behemoth got the spike suit there. I believe double frame perfect trick, very difficult to get. But if he got it correctly, we'll see him store a Shine Spark all the way until the X-ray room. which is a sight to behold.
Yeah. It's really cool when you like see a player get a spike suit and you're like, oh, I wonder when they're gonna use it.
Yeah, Traffic Talks. Going for probably one of my least favorite strategies. The missile in the golden chorizo room has you saw those crumble blocks there. If you fall through, you can't get back up. So if you just jump across and you fall through, it's over. You have to go all the way back around. So that's why a lot of people there use spring ball, because if you just hold the jump button, you have no risk of falling through. You just jump. So taking what I would say is an unnecessary risk there. Glossio just grabbing the ice beam right now. Behemoth should be on his way out of Norfolk.
I really like these like pick up item syncs, even though like the different items in different places. I just like seeing them picking up like items at the same time. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so Hotorumi is now going into North Fair Reserve, so following it, what Behemoth just did essentially. Glacio looks like he's preparing to go down to Lower North Fair.
Yeah, Glossy a little bit behind, going to fight. Yeah, Ridley shortly. Meanwhile, Behemoth just leaving Norfair actually, so he'll be heading out of Norfair through Brinstar, doing a tiny bit of cleanup there, then doing the criteria cleanup, and then he will be on his way to fight the Mother Brain and destroy the planet.
Oh no, he released his shine spot there by accident.
That's a real shame, because that's one of my favorite strategies to see, being able to store a shine spark all the way into like a completely different section of the game. Either way, I think he's still got a fairly commanding lead on everyone here.
Yeah, definitely. Very good runner, so I guess it's what we're expecting to done. But yeah. My favorite thing is that I get to see like my all different times and like see the runners go through it, because I think Lower North is very cool. And anyone who fight me.
Yeah, I love watching these races because I'm really out of practice, and I love seeing the new strategies that people have learned over the past couple of years. Behemoth grabbing the X-ray scope just now. This is, I would argue, one of the worst items in the game in 100%, because normally what you can do is just scroll through your items, but now the X-ray scope is in that list of items as well, and it's activated by holding run. So if you have X-ray selected while trying to run, you'll just X-ray in place instead, and that's very slow.
Yeah, I guess though running a game like Hundo, it gets you used to, like item deselecting. Like you're always like, okay, now I need to deselect
Yeah, we're
instead of
actually
just pressing Y.
we'll see that in the Metroid rooms. I would say I have a huge problem with those Metroid rooms, because you have to go back and forth between your ice beam and your super missiles so quickly, and having X-ray on top of that just makes it so difficult to do consistently. Glacio doing Golden Chorizo, meanwhile Traffic Talk's fighting Ridley.
Yeah. So what Behemoth's going to do now is he's going to get all these items that we sort of skipped out on at the start of the run. Because like when you come down here for the first time, these like creatures aren't like live or activated, and you could get the tank, but it's very difficult. It was thought to be Taz only, but then I think Shiny Zenny has done it in his RBO runs.
Yeah,
But,
there's a couple ways you can do it.
It's just easier to come back later. These items here anyway, in the Billy Mays area. Still don't know why it's called that, but everyone else sees it, so I'm going with it.
So there's 2 missile packs in there. Well, actually, no, there's 1 missile pack, and then but wait, there's more. That's why.
Alright. I see. But yeah, Behemoth's nearly done with getting all his ammo. Like he just needs climb supers and also the final 230 missiles, I believe. So yeah, very nearly done with this game on Behemoth side. And looks like Trevik is just making his way out of whilst Glacier is still making his way in. So yeah, with the screw attack that all these runners pick up, it's so easy to just transverse through lower Norfair. Like it's so OP, like it does so much damage. So you can just sort of run into any enemy with screw attack and just sort of like kill it basically.
Yeah, it's a
So you
shame
don't
you don't get it
have to worry
earlier on
about it.
because it would be so useful.
Yeah, just introduce GT code into Hundo Kappa.
Yeah, so Behemoth is grabbing the last missile pack coming up here. This is an old old reference, but I believe they're called the cavity missiles, coined by an old runner cross product. Those of you who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. Otherwise,
Yeah, 230 missiles are 230, yeah.
yeah.
To
So
be honest, I was meant to go to the dentist a month ago, but couldn't because reasons. So, yeah. Go visit your dentist, kids.
always good advice. Brought to you by the SpeedGaming 100% tournament.
Needs dental advice? Go to your dentist.
Yeah, so Glacier is doing the super missile strat on Ridley. I think it's a little bit faster than holding up charge shots, but each 3 super missiles is worth 2 charged plasma shots, and Ridley takes 20 charged plasma shots to kill. So you have to keep track of what's going on and how many shots you've fired into Ridley here. It can be a little bit tricky. And then once he's dead, I mean, you just have to let him pick you up and he will crumble like he's doing now. Behemoth is in the waiting room, heading down to Turian. Hodorubi is a little bit behind him. Traffic Talk's doing his lower Norfair and upper Norfair cleanup just now.
Yeah, no Fantoon skip on Behemoth's side. I mean, you'd have to miss like 20 items, right, if you skipped Fantoon by accident.
Yes.
A lot of items.
I just want to draw attention to Behemoth here because I have a feeling that these rooms, they're just incredible to watch a good skilled runner do this selecting back and forth. It's so hard to do well.
So satisfying though.
Very satisfying. You see, just placing those Metroids perfectly, knows where to fire his ice beam and knows where to fire his super missiles, making it look, again, very easy. A slight slip up there, but I mean, it's still very, very impressive.
Yeah, I guess the good thing about having 160 odd missiles in your inventory is that you don't really need those supers.
It helps a little bit for the Mother Brain 1 section, but it's not a big deal if you don't have the supers, because, like you said, you have the missiles there.
Also, I know that in codes, you usually do the Spring Balls skip. Is that the same for Hundo?
It depends. There's more than one way to do it, but the way that I do it is with the Spring Ball. Unfortunately, he got caught, so he's just going to let the Metroid drain his energy, and then he's going to go after refill on the way out. Not a big time loss, but certainly frustrating.
Yeah, especially I see a lot of runners practicing this baby skip, so it's like I practiced all that just run. But yeah. Just gonna refill here. Be funny if he like refilled his missiles as well, just to check if he actually has 230.
A legitimate strategy. I think I always get so paranoid when I'm in the Turian section. Like, did I miss a missile pack? I don't know. And then it's stressful waiting for that 100% screen at the very end. Behemoth going for he's probably going to go for the down back Zeb skip method. This is really tricky. You have to freeze the little circly thing in place. And oh my goodness. Do something like that.
Yeah, just
go through it.
We just said.
Yeah, that's tricky. That's a very, very difficult strategy to do. But basically clipping into the Zebtite and then just running through it. Hodarubi coming up on the last few missile packs here. Traffic Talks grabbing the X-ray scope, and Glacio still doing his Norfair cleanup. So there's a couple of ways that you can save fight. I think there's only one major one. You can save time on the Mother Brain fight. If you go for the stand-up glitch, which means that when the Metroid latches on to Samus to restore her health, you're able to take shots at Mother Brain and lower her health for the next phase. So we'll see Behemoth go for that probably. But this is what I was saying at the very start of the race, is that it's possible to make an error in that section, and if you make an error doing that, it can lock your game. So you have to be careful.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Hodarubi has to get Gauntlet. Someone in chat just pointing out. I've totally forgotten about that. So let's hope we don't get a 98% run here. I don't know if he got the criteria power bombs as well. Or the ones at the top right. I don't know if they're power bombs or missiles. Whatever they are.
Yeah, I was thinking about those Gauntlet missiles earlier, and then I was like, I just forgot about it.
Yeah, he's going right, so he knows what he's doing. Yeah, Behemoth getting the stand-up glitch, no worries. So we'll see him fire some shots into Mother Brain when you're supposed to be on the ground, restoring your energy.
Yeah, and you can start with these charge shots, so yeah. You can actually get latched on if you are not careful even during this phase, so yeah. He's gonna try to avoid that.
One of the things I love about watching Hodarubi there is you can see that he's practiced backup strategies as well, because he was going for a speedball coming out of the criteria powerbomb room there, going into the gauntlet. So he knew that if he had missed these items and had to get them on the way back, he knew how to do it quickly. I wouldn't have even thought about that. It's a good play.
Yeah. Then that's the other thing, Hundo, is that there's something that's bound to go wrong in your run, so I think a good runner knows how to like back up stuff really well.
Definitely. Like you said, these routing decisions, they they add up. Behemoth just coming up on the escape here. Just gonna get through it as fast as he can.
Yeah. Some really nice strats in the escape. Like you can again do like a moonfall, and you can also do like these strats like at the end with Behemoth's Spark. Like that saves like some, I don't know how much it saves, but it saves time over just like regularly doing a Shine Spark. But looks like Behemoth's going to get very nice time.
Yeah, it looks like he's on 1:14 pace here. That's an absolutely incredible time. When I first started running this game, I want to say 6 or so years ago, like world record, I think was around 1:20. So seeing something like this is insane to me. It's just crazy. It's crazy how far the game has come.
Alright, yeah, looks like Behemoth is almost about finished. Yeah.
1:14. Yeah, 1:14.51 in the chat. So that's a time.
Yeah, that's a very very fast and good time to be having. So yeah, GG's to Behemoth for finishing, I believe, first.
Yep,
So,
definitely first.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
now we're just gonna wait for all the other runners to finish and see what times that they get. Um, like Hotarubi's in Torian, so he shouldn't be too far off either. And Trevik is just finishing off with his not Bryn Star, his criteria cleanup. Um, so yeah, should these runners should be finishing off very shortly.
Yeah, and we're gonna start seeing some runners in the race chat now, just finishing up as well. We got 19 runners total this race.
Yep. 2 forfeits, so should be seeing 17 finish times. Hopefully. Something goes bad right at the very end, then there's nothing worse.
Hotarubi going for the baby skip. This is such a tricky strategy. It's so hard to get consistently, but he got it. If you're a little bit slower on that, the baby can actually grab you, and if you have it stuck to you while you go through the room transition, you're just slow until you reload the game. So it would require him to go and save at the save station right here, and then reload.
Yeah, you can get soft locked on that baby skip as well. Like, I don't think Ruby has saved like at all. So yeah.
He's not going for the Zeb skip. What is this? This is not something I've seen before.
Unless he's doing the spring ball. Yeah, there you go.
That is, you know what? I have never seen that before. That's something I'm gonna have to look up.
I do that Zeb skip because I find the down back so hard. Like, I don't know why, I just can't do it. So I shoot out the first Zeb and then I just do it on the second Zeb and it works fine. Like you don't even need spring ball to do it. You can just morph and morph. But yeah, I definitely recommend looking at it if you also struggle at Zeb skip. Because it can be like easier to do if you're really struggling. So yeah, that was suggested to me, and it saved me from picking up like 50 odd missiles. So yeah.
That's a great strat. I'll have to look into that. Hotarubi, yeah, wrapping up Mother Brain right now, going for the stand-up glitch. But meanwhile, Traffic Talks, I just want to point out that I think he turned off Varia Suit, but he definitely turned off Screw Attack, which means he's probably going to go for a completely different Zeb skip strategy here, not involving the down back, but just clipping into the Zebtite by spin jumping onto it and taking damage. So we'll see him do that. That's a little bit easier, I think, and definitely more consistent than the down back skip.
Yeah. Alright, we're about to see Behemoth's item percentage to verify his
100%.
Yep.
There we go. Well done.
The...
GG, Behemoth.
So definitely confirmed. Yeah, and Hotarubi also looks like to have looks to be going for this stand-up here. Definitely saves quite a bit of time.
Yeah, another thing about the stand-up glitch here is that if you jump too high, it can sometimes cause the Metroid to get stuck too high in the air, and it won't come down and grab you. And that's another way you can soft lock.
Yeah. Yeah, looks like Glacio is getting, I think it's the last item that he needs. I don't think he missed anything earlier.
Yeah, it should be the last one.
Yeah.
If he's missing a missile pack, we'll be able to tell Turian when he gets the missile drops there. It should be at 2:30.
Yeah. And we get to see Trevik starting his Mother Brain fight just as Hotarubi is finishing it.
You know what? Hotarubi has a 1:24 time on or 1:23 or something like that on speedrun.com. So, oh my goodness, there's a short charge there. I didn't know you could charge there. That's crazy. But he's going to get a 1:22, I think, and that is an exceptional time. It looks like it's a
Yeah.
PB, but I don't know if that's actually the case.
Yeah, I don't know his seconds, but his PB is definitely a 122, so it could be another PB for him.
Yeah, 123.34 on speedrun.com. Tier might show differently, so. But yeah, as Chat correctly points out, he did get a 120 in the qualifier yesterday. So this doesn't look to be a PB, but it's still quite the time.
It's kind of weird, like with Hundo, like how, like obviously these runners are playing like 1 or 2 minutes off PB, and you just sort of have to wonder like whereabouts do they like lose the time and stuff. Because I feel like Super Metroid's one of those games where it's just like you lose time for like no reason.
That's what it
But
feels like. It's all about being
yeah,
consistent. It's just so hard to do in this game. Behemoth going for the animals. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
save animals.
this is 100%, and in 100%, you should save the animals because that is obviously you can't get 100% without the animals, right? I don't know.
Alright, looks like Hotarubi is also finished, so GG's to him.
Yeah, GG to Hoda
Um,
Ruby.
he has a 121.48 according to the race time channel, but there was a runner who finished before him, C Scotty W, with a 121.09.
Yeah, C Scotty W.
GG's.
He ran into the qualifier that I played in yesterday. Also, just a truly exceptional runner. One of the guys who runs the GBA Metroid games pretty often. I think he has world records in those, so it's good to see him in this Metroid game as well. Just cleaning up.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that there's like runners finishing. Like I've not really heard of him before, so to see him do well in this race seems really cool. So yeah, definitely GG's to everyone. Like even the people who like forfeited, like they still did well. Like you still gave it a go, and I think that's mainly what like races is about. It's just like trying a category that you wouldn't normally try. Um, and yeah, like racing in like such a large group of runners of all skills, like it's kind of nerve-wracking actually. Like
It's
yeah,
intimidating. Yeah, you got all these players of, I mean, all sorts of skill levels. You have the world record holders as well. So
yeah. Wait, what? Wait. Glacio, is he gonna do like a crystal flash or something? Is that why he's on 1 health?
maybe he has 4 tanks in the reserve. I don't know. This looks to be.
I Yeah, I guess you do pick up. It would have been faster to menu.
This is risky. I
Alright,
don't like this. He
alright.
needs to not
GG
take
to
damage,
Trevor.
and he's already taken damage here. So, I mean, he's committed now. He can't go back. He cannot take a single hit here, otherwise he's done. This
Yeah.
is. Oh wait, no,
Oh,
you're right. Crystal
oh
Flash.
my
That's
god.
someone chat points out. Uh, oh, if he needs to be careful with that super count, otherwise he's not going to be able to do a Crystal Flash here.
Alright, so Trevik has finished with a 123.50, and I don't think I can say that just yet because of Glacier's timer, but I'll say it in 10 seconds. Giving it away, SMH. Alright, so we also have another runner, Kishmo, finishing in 5th with a 124.40. So yeah, GG's. It's actually crazy how like out of these 4 runners, 3 have finished in the top 5 of like this race. So That's really interesting. Alright, we're about to see how to Ruby's item percentage rate. Hopefully it's 100.
Let's hope. Don't want to see any 99s or 97s. Be a real shame. 100%. There we go.
100. Pog.
So we're just waiting on Traffic Talks' screen and waiting for Glacio to finish up the run.
Yeah. We also have Cash Mud finishing in 6th with a 125.58. So yeah, let's see. This stand-up seems to be going pretty well for Glacio right now. I think all runners went for it, which is very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the strategy is basically free, if you're careful. There are a couple pitfalls that you can run into with it, but as long as you're just using a little bit of caution, it's a free strategy to go for.
Yeah.
Glacio with a little bit of spicy X-ray action going on there.
Yeah. Right, about to see Travik's item percentage rate.
There go another Hondo.
Pod. Oh wow, we're getting a lot of .duns in right now. We have Bressingham with a 127.15.
Glacio just wrapping up now. It's already hit his done in the race channel.
Yep. But those would be spoilers. Since we're a bit behind on the restream. Do you think he'll save the animals?
I certainly hope not.
Are you save the frames?
Yeah. I don't like saving the animals, but I do like how riled up people get about it.
Yeah. Alright, Glacio finished with a 128.34, and J-Chot finished just 2 seconds after him with a 128.36. So that is all the runners done on our screen. So yeah, we just need one more runner to finish for the top 10. So yeah, again, GG's to everyone who raced. Make sure you follow these runners. I would say follow all the runners, but I don't think we have a link to everyone's Twitch channels. But if you want to support them, you know, feel free, just go over to their channels. They usually speedrun Super Metroid. Yeah, and also follow us commentators if you really want. I stream sometimes.
Sorry, just want to throw this out to everybody. This is just one of the 8 qualifiers that are being run. There's basically 4 qualifying rounds, 2 races per qualifier. You can only participate in 1, but 2 of these races rounds are already done. The next ones are coming up next week. So if you are interested in running Super Metroid at 100%. Even if you're not super confident in yourself, maybe you just speedrun the game casually here and there. Give it a shot. It's a great community. This stuff's all in good fun, and we just want to see more people speedrunning in the community. So hope to see you guys next weekend as well.
Yeah, and we're getting more done. So we have MM2 NES cartridge with a. Oh no, wait, sorry, I'm missing stuff. We have Meiyu with a 13017. We have MM2 NES cartridge with a 13019. So they were also 2 seconds apart. And we also have Dai Tenkong with a 13050. Oh no, unfortunately, someone's had to forfeit because he only got 99 items, which was Bressingham. I think he was 7th, but yeah, that's really unfortunate. Really easy to miss an item in this in this game. Hopefully he'll get into another qualifier.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 more chances next weekend, so
Yeah. Yeah, Bison finishing 12th with a 132.04. So yeah, GG's everyone. So yeah, hopefully hopefully there's a lot more 100% now.
Yeah, it looks like there's about 4 runners left still racing in our race channel, but our 4 restreamed runners here are all wrapped up here. Just finding out if Glacio got 100%, which I'm pretty confident that he did.
Yeah, I think based on all the items that we saw from him, I don't think there's one that we're like definitely, oh, he skipped that and he didn't come back for it later. So let's hope this is 100. Yeah, 100%.
Of course, 100%.
Yeah. So yeah, GG's. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what else there is to say. Just 4 runners wrapping up in the race channel, but like I said, the 4 restreamed runners are finished up here. So I guess we should start wrapping up here.
Yeah, I mean, I think people can see the race time room in the Discord, I think. So if you're wondering where like the other runners finish up that, then you can take a nosy. Oh, Boxmeister getting in there right at the last second with a 133.55. Before we wrap it up. And he's also saying if he has 100%, then this is a PB. So yeah, GG's on your PB.
Yeah, I think that's something we'll see a lot of in this race because I obviously have to run the category over and over again. We're going to see some people getting PBs. And I mean, hopefully we'll see some PBs in the qualifier race next weekend. So you can catch that on the SpeedGaming channels as well.
Yeah, still a lot of chance to get a PB in a race. I think that's exciting. Do you think 128 will qualify? I don't know. I think definitely sub 130. Oh, also, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Sish, finishing 14th with a 134.53. So yeah, there's still only 2 runners left who haven't finished. So yeah, hopefully they're close to the end here. Just having a nosy at their streams, yeah. Crustacean is on Mother Brain, and the other one, Papa Schmo, looks like he's just, yeah, he just got dunned with a 135.32. Yeah, so GG. Yeah. Alright. So yeah, looks like we're going to wrap this up. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you to my co-commentator.
Yeah,
on the
thank
main
you.
comment.
I've been out of the. I mean, it's not a real commentating booth, just doing this from home, but been out of the booth for years now, so it's nice to be back. Nice to be part of the community again. So, yeah, thanks, Eden, for co-commentating with me. It was a blast. Hopefully, we will see you guys in the next race, and I guess that's it. We'll see you guys next mission.
Yeah, thank you everyone for watching, and thank you everyone for racing yet again. So yeah, see you later. Bye everyone.